To Every Friday with Dan and Olivia. I'm Olivia Darbo.
I'm Dan Miles.
And you know what? I was going to pick a topic, Dan, but I felt like here I go getting a little esoteric and philosophical again. So I thought we'd kind of keep it light, perky, and fun. And we talk about musicals, or possibly people who have been in successful musicals. Okay. First person who comes to mind is a wonderful woman who is not with us anymore, but she was in Gypsy. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Give me one more beyond Gypsy. Gypsy makes me think it's Natalie Wood. I know
yeah, but who played her mother?
Kind
of a belter. She was a belter.
Oh, a belter?
Yeah. Well, Gypsy Rose Lee.
Okay, the Broadway belter was Ethel Merman.
Correct.
Okay, cool. So we're going to talk about Ethel Merman in musicals?
Yeah, well, you know, it's interesting. Being an actress and a musician, I'm sometimes wonder why I've never done a musical.
Yeah.
And I think it's for the most part because I don't have a sort of breakout belting voice per se, but I do have a real affinity with Ethel Merman, and I have this little game that I play called Ethel Does 70 Songs.
70 songs?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why, just that decade. You know, we were talking a little while ago at dinner about how epic the decade of the 70s was for movie making and what have you. So I also think it pertains to music and musicals and kind of women of that era doing musicals. So the kind of the contrasting elements of somebody like Ethel Merman doing something from a time period where people were doing a lot of drugs. And psychedelia was sort of rampant.
Now, when you say it's a game, what do you mean by a game?
Well, you just sort of have to pick any song from the 70s.
I get to pick a song from the 70s,
yeah.
And you sing it like Ethel Merman.
Yeah.
Stairway to Heaven.
Okay.
Remember, it has a soft part, and at the end it has a belting part.
If there's a bustle in your head drum, don't be alarmed now. It's just a sprinkling for the May Queen.
I'd go to that show.
Hey, lady, can you hear the wind blow? And did you know that stairway lies on the Risprin Wen?
Does anybody remember Forrest? Oh, that was cool, man. I dug it. Okay. That's well. Now let me think. Oh. See, Ethel Merman, let's see, the Stones is more of a 60s thing. The 70s, Ethel Merman, how about if she sings...
Bad Company.
Okay, Bad Company.
Baby, when I think about you, I think about love. Feel like making down, and I feel like making love. Feel like making love to you, baby.
I felt like she was in the room with me.
Yeah.
And I felt ready to run for the exit because I did not want to make love to her.
Right.
So, okay.
That would be a bad date.
Okay, that's cool. That's where we're going. I was trying to think of the Pina Colada song, but I don't know. That's a lot of lyrics to remember, even for Ethel. To belt one out.
Oh, how about Cher? Do we have any Cher songs?
A Cher song?
See, Cher would have been amazing in a musical. And she could still put it off with absolutely no problem whatsoever.
Gypsies, trap shot days. Nah, I can't sound like Ethel, but that'd be the song.
Gypsies, traps and thieves, seeing all the people gather round.
I got you, babe.
They say my hair's too long. Sonny, you and I can never go wrong.
Now, I thought you wanted to be light and fun and silly. I'm not getting that vibe from this.
I got you, babe.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, you can do Ethel Merman. This is a good point you made. You're an actress, you're a musician, but you haven't really done a lot of
now you know
musical roles. No, I don't know why. I'd go see that Ethel Merman show right now. I'd rather see that than like the real Ethel. Well, her there's no business like show. That's the one I was thinking about with her. But
yeah, I mean, see, I think even somebody like Stevie Nicks could be amazing in a musical. Because she's got that whole sort of, she's got that very full larynx, which allows her to have a, she's got a vibrato.
Stevie Nicks in a musical, yeah. Somebody might have to write a specific show for her to do. I don't know about range.
Well, you know who would be amazing is Ann Wilson from Heart. Would be amazing. She could be in Wicked. You know what I'm saying? Because she has the versatility. Oh, yeah. She's got the voice, the versatility. She's got this amazing presence. She's very womanly.
Yeah. Lady Gaga, I don't know much about. I know she went on the Oscars or something and did like a Julie Andrews thing that kind of blew people away.
Yeah, she was great. She's like, you see, I think what's interesting about certain singers, I mean, going back to almost a vaudevillian time when you look at people like Judy Garland or Sammy Davis Jr., the people who were sort of part of the Brat Pack. I mean, obviously Judy Garland wasn't, but, they were entertainers and they had, they were sort of like a triple threat. They could act, they could sing, they could dance. Mm-hmm. And they were entertainers. They could literally be on a stage and they had the capacity to just pull it out of a hat and entertain people. And so I think Lady Gaga has that kind of versatility. She has that kind of raw talent where she's sort of captivating.
Yeah, I think so.
But and theatrical. I mean, like Ethel Merman as well.
That's what I was thinking. Ethel Merman was the belter, and then Julie Andrews and other people. Mary Martin, when you said before about the gypsy thing, Mary Martin was one of those very present. She was like, I think, the original Maria von Trapp. She was right. She was the original South Pacific, I'm not mistaken, in that show. Yeah, it's funny because, when I was a little kid in the 60s, the record collection we had at home included a lot. We had Hello, Dolly. We didn't have the Barbara Streisand. We had the Pearl Bailey, the Black Cast. We had Man of La Mancha. We had Sound of Music. And, I was influenced by this. The way I look at it is I'm kind of fortunate. My uncle, my mother's brother, was a bona fide hippie in the 60s. And he gave her Sgt. Pepper because he just thought everybody should have it. She'd have never got it in a million years. So here I am in the kindergarten of the first grade, reading along the lyrics. And I know for a lot of people, this was the culmination of a lot of... For me, it was a starting point. I go, oh, this is what music is, Sgt. Pepper. So I had that, but I also had the Rodgers and Hammerstein and the, Jerry, the guy who did Hello, Jerry Herman.
Yeah,
and all that kind of stuff.
And Leonard Lowe, all those guys.
Yeah, and then, it's funny, back in the day, George Gershwin and Irving Berlin, the stuff they wrote, it was not only Broadway hits and stuff, and Jerome Kern and people like that. It was also the hit songs of the day. I think these days you will get a Cat situation, whatever, Memory, where you'll get a song from a show that becomes a hit in a way. But I think that era of a show comes out. It's like, for example, Showboat, Old Man River, and Can't Help Loving That Man, and all the things you think of as standards were hit songs too. The problem is Ethel Merman should have sang every song ever written, and as a duet with Sammy. I could do Sammy.
Okay, I have a trivia question for you.
Oh boy.
You're talking about South Pacific. Were we talking about Showboat or South Pacific in terms of musicals?
They've both come up.
Okay, so so what show was the formula for Book of Mormon, and what made it ultimately so successful?
Oh, Book of Mormon, I went to the library and got the CD of the show, so I know all the songs from it. I know the story of it. Are you saying that the musical stylings were based on something else? Yeah,
there's an actual musical show formula that they used, literally, beat for beat, for Book of Mormon that Matt and Trey used for that show. That had a lot to do with Book of Mormon having, the huge success that it did, because it was just a built-in formula.
Right. Let me see what storyline kind of follows that pattern. Mormon guys go to Africa and learn about AIDS and scary things. I'm going to say...
There's a love interest, which there usually is formulaically in every musical.
Oklahoma? No, that's not it.
No, actually, we already mentioned it. It was really just picking out of the two.
Well, it was either South Pacific or...
And which one was most successful out of South Pacific and Showboat?
Oh, Showboat. Right?
No, South Pacific.
Showboat, they keep reviving, though.
Yeah, South Pacific, incidentally, they did do about... Well, when I was doing the Odd Couple in 2006, they were doing South Pacific, so they had revived that as well at the Lincoln Center. But incidentally, it is South Pacific, so they literally took the formula of that show and put it into...
Well, you got to give us Some Enchanted Evening as Ethel Merman, because that fits together.
I don't know what are the lyrics?
Some Enchanted Evening, you'll meet a stranger across a crowded room. Some enchanted evening.
Some enchanted evening.
You will meet a stranger.
You will meet a stranger.
You will meet a stranger across the...
You do it. You take it over, baby.
I know the song, but I don't know if people are going to like this one or not.
I think mine is definitely in the wrong key.
We're having fun. I don't know if people are going to listen to this more than once.
I think if we're having fun, they'll be having fun.
Well, you win an award
if
you
listen to this
point.
Let's keep it loosey-goosey.
Yes, of course. Now, there's a connection with your dad in Jesus Christ Superstar. I wasn't as familiar with that one as I was with Godspell. You know Godspell? Mm-hmm. I mean, we had the little sheet music for that. I'd play it on the piano, some of that stuff. And a lot of good music in it, but that theater world and the theater musical thing, it's interesting. Les Miserables came back around not long ago, and... some translate to film better than others. Some kind of belong on the stage. A lot of that stuff, like Sound of Music, for example, you think of Julie Andrews and the Alps and the Expanse, but it started out on a little stage where you had to use your imagination. And
absolutely. But when you think about show, Wicked is a great example. That's going to run for years to come. But like when I was a kid, Les Miserables was on stage, and it's still. I was just in London literally 3 weeks ago, and it's just crazy to me that all this time after, it's still playing like gangbusters. So it obviously has something. It's the ones that one wants to look at that survive decade after decade, and they just keep showing up at the box office every week and making millions.
Even if there was no play or movie, The Sound of Music, the songs themselves, My Favorite Things, Climb Every Mountain, 16 Going on 17, Do Re Mi, for crying out loud. Absolutely. Everything in there would have probably had great success just by virtue of that. So
harmonically and melodically, these. I'm not a huge South Pacific fan or Showboat fan, but I did love The Sound of Music, and I love obviously Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and Mary Poppins was huge, right? Just recently, not too long ago, both on the London stage, and there's some great music in that. All the stuff that Disney kind of catches onto and makes into a movie.
Yeah, the Sherman Brothers.
But I think it's getting back to the musical side of things. If you've got a great strong melody and the harmonics are there, and you've got great stars behind those roles, it's captivating. And again, it gets back to the simple thing of like, it's entertaining. You've got a great song, you've got people who dance, sing, act, great stage effects, great lighting, and it's real time. It's in the moment. And I think that there's such a dire need still to this day for that kind of entertainment.
Yeah, it's a different type of excitement than if you just go to the theater and see a movie that's just filmed, as opposed to the live presentation. I didn't see The Lion King on Broadway, but I understand that was quite an innovation too. You
know what they're doing now in London is they're taking shows that are playing at like the National Theatre, and they're filming it live, so you can go to a movie theatre and you pay half the price. You pay like £20, and you get to see a televised filmed version of this play. So you're getting the sensibility of theatre, but you're not... theater is one of those things, since the beginning of time, where it's really supposed to be for the people, meaning, the people, anybody should be able to afford to go and buy a theater ticket and sit there and watch. But unfortunately, that isn't the reality today. It's like £100 to be able to go to some of the greatest theater.
Yeah, they did a musical about Dirty Rotten Scoundrels They took that movie and made it into a musical, and there's a joke written into one of the songs about, I want to be rich, I'm so rich, I can finally afford to go to a Broadway show, because they know it's a Broadway show, and the people in the audience will laugh about it. It costs us a fortune to get in here. So,
exactly.
Yeah, it's a self-referential kind of thing right now. Well, the interesting thing about this episode is that you're responsible for the topic in the song, and you switch directions with the topic. So now I'm wondering if you're going to switch directions or go with your original song, or if we're going to get to hear the real... We don't need to hear the real Ethel Merman. I think we've kind of exhausted that. I like our versions of her better than her own version of her anyways. Yeah. Although, wasn't one of the Airplane movies, might not have been the first one, there was a scene where somebody was in like the psycho ward, and such and such thinks he's Ethel Merman. And then they went in there, and it was really her. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, like lying in a bed. And it was like supposed to be a guy who thought he was Ethel Merman, and it was Ethel Merman.
Oh my God.
I'm sure the listeners will remember that. I'll dig that out.
What was the other movie that she was in that she was terrific in? She played like, Walter Matthau's wife or something. It was, it's a bad, bad world, or one of these things where everybody and their mother were in it. And it's one of those films where you're going around the world. It's a chase film.
It's a mad, mad, mad world.
I think it's a mad world that she's in. She's wearing red in it, I seem to remember.
Well, I remember her commenting that, people told her all the time she was a bad singer, and that producers always loved her because, she projected. You could really hear her.
Yeah.
Her thing was like, hey, I'm getting the jobs, I'm getting the work, and if you can do better, you're welcome to. She didn't seem to really care.
Yeah.
She
was just an intense woman.
Right.
She was, I think the word threaten comes to mind. Men would say, she's great, but she's threatening,
No.
But she just had a real dame presence,
Yeah. She seems like the type of person who'd ball up a fist and just punch you in the face if she felt like it. So I think
she's kind of badass myself. I love her.
If you watch the earliest Saturday Night Live with Gilda Radner, Lorraine Newman, and Jane Curtin, they're practically shouting all the time. I just get the feeling that some producer, sage guy said, look, the females in the cast, the microphones are having more trouble picking up your voices. It just seems like they'd been instructed, that Rosanna, Dan, and there was like Weekend Update, whatever it is that they're doing. Just go back with that in mind and watch those old episodes. And all three of them sound like they're really, it's not just a matter of projecting to a theater, but I think that maybe there was a dress rehearsal where they're speaking too softly or something. It seemed like overcompensation to me. I don't know.
When you think about the likes of John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd and all those guys that they were kind of not, they were in company with, let's say, I would think there was a sensibility of having to keep up with them. Not necessarily becoming one of the guys, but maybe subconsciously they did sort of become more masculine in their delivery.
In the latter day, when the books and stuff have come out, we spoke a few episodes ago about actor, actress, etc., demeaning or not, and apparently there was a vibe on the early Saturday Night Live where some of the male cast members didn't think the female cast members were as
holding
funny
their weight,
or funny enough, or didn't want them to have the scream type. There again, I also heard they did the same thing to Garrett Morris. So it could just be that John Belushi thought he was talented. He respected Dan Aykroyd. He respected whoever, Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, I don't know. And if he didn't think the others were as good, male or female, he was like, maybe a dick to them. I wasn't there. I can't say. But, you
could just go to, you can go to the auditions. You can go online and see all of the original auditions for all those people that you're mentioning. In fact, it was after the fact of what we're talking about. It was when Phil Hartman and Mike Myers and Dana Carvey and all those guys who were amazing. They were like the next generation of the Dan Aykroyds and the John Belushis and Lorraines and all the Gildas. But you should check out some of those auditions. In fact, Phil Hartman's is just absolutely stellar.
Did he do it with John Lovitz together, the two of them?
I think that eventually maybe they had a callback and the two of them paired up. But, what it really comes down to in those auditions especially is there's a sense of shtick that they bring to it, where I guess Lorne Michaels must have looked at them and said, this guy can take a character and we can put it in anything. We can put it in the news show, we can put it in a sketch, we can put it in a commercial. But it's that they just found a niche that was really unique. And
well, we had a Chris Farley thing on, that I took from NBC.com that we played a little while ago. The first thing I searched for on there was Peter Graves, because I'm missing Phil Hartman as Peter Graves. There's one particular one he did with John Lovitz that wasn't there, but there were three others. There was one with Snakes that Sean Penn was in. There was another one with Victoria Jackson.
Right.
They're all still there. It's just hilarious stuff. Oh, yeah, Phil Hartman might
I got to work with him in Greedy. He was
right,
amazing.
That's right. He might be the best cast member of all time
I think
for
so.
Saturday Night Live. Certainly way up towards the top. Well, we are pushing the limit for keeping our show at 30 minutes, so I'm going to... we can pick this up another time, but let's hear what song you want to play. You can play the one you plan to, or you can not, or you can just sing us the Ethel Merman song and go out
I'm
on
going
that.
to play the song that I had planned to, which is This Is Our Last Goodbye by Jeff Buckley.
Let's listen to that.
He's one of my very favorite male recording artists of all time.
This is our last goodbye. I hate to feel the love between us die, but it's over. Just hear this and then I'll go. You gave me more to live for, more than you'll ever know. This is our last embrace. Must I dream and always see your face? Why can't we overcome this war? Baby, maybe it's just because I didn't know you at all. Kiss me, please kiss me. Kiss me out of desire, baby, not consolation. Oh, you know it makes me so angry, 'cause I know that in time I'll only make you cry. This is our last goodbye. Did you say, no, this can't happen to me? Or did you rush to the phone to call? Was there a voice unkind in the back of your mind saying, maybe you didn't know him at all? You didn't know him at all. Oh, you didn't know. Well, the bells out in the church tower chime, burning cruising to this heart of mine.
awesome song pick. I have heard that song, but not for a long time, so it was nice to
the
hear
late
it.
Jeff Buckley.
Yeah, it was
so amazing. Such an incredible artist.
Yeah, that was a nice vibe on that one. I have to comment that you have good taste in music.
Thank you. You know that he dated Elizabeth Fraser from the Cocteau Twins, one of my all-time favorite groups ever, who are also on 4AD, which This Mortal Coil were on, and the Smashing Pumpkins started on that, and Love and Rockets. That was like a really amazing radio label that I'm sure you heard of in the 80s and 90s. And but anyway, yeah. So he was very influenced by Elizabeth Fraser, and there's several other tracks on this album from the song we played that are very Cocteau Twins-esque, which is really interesting to hear a male perspective of a female's voice.
Yeah, that's true. And I got a George Harrison vibe and eventually a Led Zeppelin vibe off of that too. And like I said, I know he's popular. He continues to have a big following and everything. So.
Yeah.
Along the Nick Drake thing again. So
yeah.
How about that? Please do hit us up. Let us know what you think about the show. Let us know what you want us to talk about and what Ethel Merman songs you want us to sing. And
yeah. Make sure the words are as straight and, just like white bread as possible.
Yeah, she doesn't want a lot of that modern Major General kind of stuff. It's got to be...
No, actually, let me reverse that. The more sexual the words are...
Okay.
From the 70s, like...
Let's go out with this. I want to hear Ethel Merman sings Rock and Roll All Night by Kiss. Go.
I don't know the words to that song.
I want to rock and roll all night and party every day. Everybody knows the words of that song.
Let me propose that you have a go at it.
I want to rock and roll all night. Okay, but Beth, there you go.
And party every day. I want to rock and roll all night. And party every day, baby.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.